The other thugs got mad as well, and started to attack the Snoopy girl to teach her a lesson. Good thing her powerful cat blasted them with magic spell that pushes all of the enemies away from Claiohm. Also, the cat made her a sword out of the wall to protect herself. One guy tries to capture her but she easily manages to defeat him. The man with long hair is impressed with her, then asks again if she are with Lottie. Next, that man is also fast, now brawling with Claiohm to a sword fight. But later she has finally been defeated, then Ed wants to know, what is her purpose of fighting against him? She answers that she cannot stand watching the injustice that they're doing. A voice nearby has been heard, and Claiohm thought that it was Orphen but she is wrong. A mysterious guy named Ryan comes forward and finally confirms that the 4 thugs are bullying his comrade. While they were having a conversation, the girl approaches the beaten fella and heals his wounds. Ryan says he is here as a representative of Lottie herself, and if they don't want to make peace with everyone, it's a fight they will get. Ryan also boasts that he reached enlightenment 2 days ago, then perform a sword skill technique called Sword of the Ape. All the goons started attacking him. Next, he got beat up and just pays them to leave him alone. Then Ed notices that the others has escaped already. Later, the helpful gentleman approaches Claiohm who's worried about her situation. She asks why did he help them, then he replies he's just Ryan, a competitive swordsman that happened to pass by. He also checks on the other guy who seems to be all healed up now. It's because of my friend Lecky here, Claiohm says, and the guy also asks if it can treat his wounds as well. Meanwhile, Orphen and his apprentice are currently looking for Claiohm around town. Then the hero notices the long-haired man from afar and decided to chase after him. Claiohm is a nice girl, she helped carry the guy from before to this sword training ground in Nashwalter. She asks if there's a lot of sword training schools in this town. Ryan replies there's only 2 here, this school and another is Ed's training ground. The happy-go-lucky guy boasts that their master is the best in the business. Back to Orphen, he lost track of Ed, so he uses his magic spell Castle in the Sky to make him float in mid-air and quickly continues his search. Inside the training hall, Ryan tells his comrades that Ed is responsible for their classmates' beating. This confirms that the rumor is true with their rival school causing troubles to them. But the students are afraid of Ed, saying he's using a military training swordsmanships that even Lottie doesn't dare to do anything. Then Lottie herself appears behind them, reprimanding them about talking behind her back. She tells the students to stop making accusations and just continue with their training. Next, the headmaster wants to thank personally Claiohm for taking care of her student away from danger. She also expresses that this is not actually the first time Ed's men are bullying my students. After that, they stop coming to school to learn. She warns Claiohm to stay clear of those thugs, because even the police are afraid of them. This angers the girl to her core. She doesn't want to see this town to be a lawless place and they should do something about it and fight back. But Lottie says she's only doing her departed father's principles, which is not to use their swordsmanships for selfish reasons. Claiohm responds that his father was a great man but she is not her father. In fact, you shouldn't follow his teachings blindly. When someone attacked you, you give others the power over you and also to your students. After you inherit the training ground, your rival thinks that you're weak. That's why they think that you wouldn't fight back, so they start beating up the students here. Then a laugh is heard from outside and Ryan goes outside to see it. Ryan says welcome back my master, and it's only Vulcan, along with his brother tagging with him. The guy is very enthusiastic to learn much more swordsmanships from the boy. It turns out, Vulcan is the one who teaches the useless sword of the ape to him, but says he was defeated using it. Then Claiohm is yelling, what craziness are you doing again this time? The boy is surprised to see her and then calls the girl an underling demon. Another as he tells a story of the other day they fight to prove who's the greatest swordsman that men will only understand. Of course he emerged victorious, and that's how he became his master. His brother added, as long as he give us food, Vulcan will teach him many secret sword techniques. Somehow the girl is not very convinced if they are serious about it. That night, Orphen is still bothered about whom he saw that day. He looks like he's someone he'd known before. The next day at the training hall, Claiohm tries to learn how to use a sword. She's a beginner at best, but always persists on learning the basics. Ryan then approaches Orphen, saying no one can beat the competitive sword fighting of Lottie. A brown-haired man is having a telepathic information from a mysterious figure, telling him that Orphen is a suspicious guy that he should be aware of. The next day, Vulcan is teaching Ryan some secret moves on how to deceive an enemy during a sword fight. Both Claiohm and Magic is there too, but they head straight towards Lottie's room. The girl says in order to help Lottie, we should do a private investigation of ourselves, but the boy is not very sure if what they're doing is right. Later, she opens a box and sees a prestigious-looking sword in it. It has also magic runes written all over it, and Magic says the characters are originated from the celestial clans. The girl tries to pull out the sword but it won't budge, and then Lottie enters the room saying most people can't unsheath the sword. Meanwhile, Orphen goes to the police station and unexpectedly, the officer admits that they know about the fight going on both training schools. He says no ordinary people hasn't been hurt yet, so they're letting the two dojos to settle it for themselves. The hero also learned that Ed has the same last name as Lottie's. While Magic and Claiohm are arguing why they got caught, the boy bumps into a picture frame and they also take a look at it. They now see a picture of both Ed and Lottie, with a man that must be the father. Claiohm asks why do you have a picture of that horrible guy? This deeply concerns Lottie, and confesses that Ed Krubstar is used to be her husband. The two are both shocked hearing that. The woman tells a story that 5 years ago, Ed joined their dojo to train under her father. During around that time they also got married. The weapon she's holding is also known as the Sword of Wiggly Runes, and with this, her father alone used to arrest criminals, being the best swordsman there is. Magic asks if it's the Sword of the Celestials, because only they know how to use the sword. Unfortunately, her father didn't teach them how to use the sword, because his last words are Ed and I are not suitable successors. After that, her husband left her and says he has no reason to stay at their school. Sunset comes and Orphen is still trying to figure out the fight between the two dojos. Then a man from the rival school approaches him and challenges the hero to fight with him. Orphen just quickly punches the guy to the ground so easily, and added another magic spell that burst a wind gust attack throwing again the enemy. After that, he visited the rival dojo and returns their knocked out friend. 5 of the students are now planning to attack him, but the hero defended himself by releasing a magic spell, and then uses his signature Sword of Light. Another comes in from behind, and Orphen asks why did one of your men suddenly ambush me? But the student doesn't recognize the guy he throws in, and then he suddenly attacked that student. It's a surprise for the hero that the weakling from before can use transformation magic, now turning into that brown-haired guy from before. The man's eye starts to glow with an evil aura, also he can manipulate his fingers to go longer and attacks the beaten students on the floor. He made sure that no witnesses should be alive after showing his true self to everyone. Orphen recognizes him now and says he's from the Dragon Clan. The villain now introduces himself as Red Dragon, and the hero recalls about this abomination magic, on turning themselves into a beast and go berserk on people. The villain mentions his name as Hellpart. He thinks that humans are inferior and that they are going to be extinct soon. Then Orphen immediately uses his Sword of Light magic towards the enemy, but is surprised on how fast the villain is. He tells the demon that humans will never bow to someone like him, and uses again another magic spell of Bursting Gust of Wind. This tears apart the enemy's hand, but unfortunately, things got only worse because there's 2 of them now. Both now attack him with their hands, but the hero dodges it and used his final magic attack Tower of the Sun. This creates a big explosion in which Orphen takes the opportunity to run away. On top of the rooftop, the villain smiles at the hero with an evil glow in his eyes. Strangely enough, he also fainted on top of the roof, then finally fades away as if he died or something. Orphen thinks that it must be only a clone, then he hears people running away but unfortunately have been killed by the monstrous fingers. Hellpart appears again, and apologizes for the ugly appearance, in which only angers the pissed off hero even more. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.